Like, no exaggeration. When I say I've been fighting for my life, I've been fighting for my life. Me and Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I know y'all are like, girl, where the hell you been? Where have you been? And honestly, I have been sick as a dog. Like, I had 3 different colds since my last YouTube video. So I've been fighting for my life in every way, shape, like, no exaggeration. When I say I've been fighting for my life, I've been fighting for my life. Me and the kids been sick. And on top of that, life just has gotten really busy. Like, I really intend on being consistent going forward, but like it was a point where like the new year had just started, the holidays had just ended, it was my son's birthday. Like, I had so much like personal life stuff going on that I had to just prioritize. And the truth is, I actually have filmed a bunch of videos to last me throughout that time, but I was like really like paying close attention to my videos so far. And despite me telling y'all in every video I hate people that make being a lawyer their personality, y'all sitting here only liking the videos I posted about being a lawyer. Like, that first sort of video that I posted to my channel to like make myself, I guess, an official YouTuber, like that's the video that y'all have really liked. Like, the most views, the most comments, like the most interaction. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I did not expect that. Like, honestly, my favorite video today is the holiday party etiquette video. I had the most fun filming that video, and I really thought y'all was gonna eat that shit up. Like, I thought it was gonna be the home run, and like not even with like going viral or getting views, because that's not really my goal. But I just knew that y'all were gonna love that video. Like, I thought it was very insightful. I loved it. I actually really believe everything I said in that video. But the truth of the matter is, like, y'all want to know what it is to be a lawyer. Y'all want to know about my life as a lawyer. Y'all want to know all the things law. And in true fashion of wanting this channel to be valuable to people, that's what I'm gonna focus on. Y'all done got me. Y'all done got your girl. I almost had it in the first half, though. I almost had it in the first half. So, yes, that's what we are now going to be. Just Attorney Asia. We're talking about being an attorney, my life as an attorney. And since I've been MIA, and with being transparent, I've been MIA because I've been sick as a dog and balancing work and life, I just want to really start this whole thing fresh, I guess, talking about balancing life as a lawyer. Like, what is it like? What is the truth about this, right? And I gotta be real with y'all. I've been MIA for 2 months because life has been crazy. So yes, y'all, it's been ghetto, and I've been fighting for my life. And that's what sort of birthed this current video. Like, I'm just want to be real with y'all. Like, the truth about balancing work and life as not only a lawyer but a working mom. And I think I summed it up into sort of 5 key points as to what I believe is the real key to balancing everything. And I'm gonna get started with the first one. So, truth number one, I would say, is accepting that there's just really never enough time. There's never enough time in the day, y'all. No matter how like proactive I am, how planned I am, if I have a to-do list, there's just never enough time. And when I started to recognize that time doesn't exist, I became at peace with the fact that, like, yo, there's just never enough time to do every little thing that I want to do. And I have to sort of change that perspective, right? Accepting that there's never enough time has easily helped me sort of do the best with my day that I can, y'all. I wake up every day like, God, just give me the strength to do the best that I can with what I have. And I work hard to do that. Like, I just do my best to do that. And I've learned that, like, it may not be enough time. Like, if I have 20 projects, I'm not going to finish all 20 in a day. There's just not enough time to do that. I can't do that. Give my kids the time and love and attention they deserve. Do stuff for myself and feel good about myself, right? So, like, I had to come to terms with the fact that, like, some things can wait, some things are not urgent. And I really started to practice prioritizing, which really I think is like, it's obvious. It's one of my tips I'm going to give you guys today, or one of the like bits of advice I have for today. But like, recognizing that is like, I don't know, it was like, it seems so simple, but when you are balancing 1,000 things, you really forget to do something as simple as, let me write out what's most important first. Let me start my day with, okay, we're going to do these 4 things. And or I want to do these 20 things, but if I could at least get 8 done, let me circle the 8, right? Like, that's kind of how I handle work and life. I struggle with doing that for myself personally, but I have been able to effectively do that with work and life. And that came really from like, oh my God, it just feels like there's never enough time in a day. And I recognized I had to like change my thought process around like, it's not enough time to, God, give me the ability to do the best with the time that I have in this day. And by grace, you'll bless me with another day to finish what I was not able to do today. But I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna put my best foot forward and I'm gonna do my best with the day. And I must say, like, that's just freeing. It's freeing. And I've been able to really like lean into that, and try my best to like be positive about balancing my day. I really honestly filmed this video a few times, and at first it was like I was complaining. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't realize I needed to vent about this." And I recognize like it's so easy to complain about this, and I'm gonna still be real with y'all and tell the truth. Like, don't get it twisted, but complaining about it is really like a negative and a lack mindset. And that's not going to help my situation. Like, that's not how I've helped my situation. That's not how I'm able to balance everything, right? You accept the chaos and you accept the confusion and you sort of balance all of that with the good and you move forward, right? And I think a part of that is like, there's not enough time today to get this done. I accept that there's not enough time today to get this done. I'm going to prioritize this for tomorrow. And like I said, like through grace, by God, we can wake up in the morning and start again. I'm going to start with that as a priority. So I would say the first thing is like accepting that, realizing that, and then finding a way to get around that hurdle. So I mentioned that recognizing, oh my God, there's just never enough time in a day, right? Really helps me realize that I have to prioritize. And y'all, prioritizing has really, really, really taken me taken me since I started at the firm, which is now what, oh my gosh, almost I'm entering the end of my 3rd year or second half of my 3rd year, which sounds crazy out loud. Like they say time start flying when you start practicing, and they are not lying. But truly, y'all, like I had to prioritize what was important. And another part of this, for me at least, right, is setting the tone for my career. How do I want my life as a lawyer to be? How do I picture myself as a lawyer 5 years from now? Well, obviously, for me, when I first had this conversation with myself, was my first year as a lawyer. I'm like, okay, who do I see myself as an attorney 3 years from now? Who do I see myself as an attorney 5 years from now? And 7, and then 10 years, like 15. I started to like vision myself at these different sort of like pockets of time and started managing my work life so that it could align with how I see my personal life at that point as well. And I know it kind of sounds confusing because it even sounds confusing saying out loud right now for some reason, but that's really what it is, right? Very early on, before I even went, honestly, I think when I was a summer associate, it dawned on me that I had to find a way to not balance work and life, but incorporate my life and work into one. And that was probably even more of a realization than realizing that there's just never enough time, because that is even more freeing than I'll do the best with what I can in a day. That mindset for me became, listen, I don't, balancing it all is impossible. I have two hands and I don't know how to juggle. Okay. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try my best to intertwine my work and life so that they don't clash or so that they're not at odds. And I try my best to balance my work life that way and my personal life that way. So for me, that means I tend to not put my son in things that requires me to leave work early. Like there are some people who have to leave work because, their kid has like a 4 o'clock or a 3 o'clock piano lesson. And I'm like, nah, I can't. Like, I can't do that. I try to put my son in things that are on the weekend or like in the summer. Like, and it sucks that I can't do a little more, but I just try to make most of the time that we have together. The only time he has something during the weekday is fall soccer, and that's honestly only 1 day a week. I want to say for the last few years it's been on a Thursday and it's at 6. So I'm usually gone from work by 6. So it works for me. Oh, but they have slots for 4 o'clock. I'm like, I'm not going to put my kid in a 4 o'clock soccer session because that requires me to leave work at 3. It's just not realistic. It doesn't work with my life or work personally at all. Right. And even with other ways, like it works out in a sense of like work from home. Like even if I decided to leave the firm that I'm at, I would not go to a firm that does not have a work from home option. It just does not align with my life. And I have to be able to do both simultaneously without making them clash or be at odds. And I cannot be at a place or at a firm or any company for that matter where I can't work from home at least once or twice a week. It just doesn't work for my life right now with the age of my kids. It just doesn't, right? So a part of balancing life for me came from recognizing that, and then as a second part, how did I want my life to be? I took a tally of the people I work with, right? And it really started when I interviewed for my summer position, like how people spoke about their children, their wives, their life, if they had kids, if they were married, right? And I started to like focus on the traits in those people that I liked, right? So I'm like, okay, Susan over there doesn't have a husband. She works really hard. She's very well respected, but she's well respected because she works hard, right? And I was like, okay, Billy over there really, really loves his wife. All he does is talk about his kids. He leaves work early on every Friday to go to his son's basketball game, and he really really takes his vacation every year. He still meets his billable hour requirement. He may miss a few firm functions, but whenever he's around, he's talking about how great the kids are doing. He's always talking about how much he loves his wife and how great his wife's doing. Okay, he's really figured it out in a way, right? Oh, but maybe he's not equity partner. Who knows, right? I think of those things, and that's really like honestly, I took a tally of the people I work with, and I'm like, they work too much for me. Like they work sun up to sundown every weekend. I don't like that. I don't like that for my life. Oh, she works all the time, but she works when she's sick. I don't want to be known as the person that's going to work all the time, even through sickness and in health. Like, no, I'm not married to my job. Like I love my job. I care about my job deeply. I take it extremely seriously. But like, one boundary I have outside of trying not to work the weekends, which have not worked for me much, but like outside of not working Saturdays and like trying my absolute best to take vacation when I can, the other hard boundary I have is if I'm feeling too sick, I will not work. I cannot function with half a brain. Like, I can't. And I think like people that work sick make it difficult for people in the office that are not equipped to do that, like but like there are certain traits, and it's something, and I know that probably sounds petty to people out there, like she gonna take tally people that work sick. Yes, I do, because you're setting a standard for other people in the office. You're setting a standard that if I can't work because I'm too sick, I'm lazy, because oh well, they did it when like it's just what people do, and I just personally, I that's not something that works for me in work life and in balancing it all. If there's a time that I'm sick, y'all, if it's an important call or a filing deadline, I will get my butt on the computer and I will get my work done. But for the most part, if me or my children are sick, I am away from my work computer. Because for me, work life balance and prioritizing what's important so that I can handle work and life was recognizing that I have to be present for myself, my health, and my kids' health in their their mental and everything else. So for me, that was so important. And again, I did that by tallying sort of who I worked with, what they seemed to prioritize, how often they worked, if that worked for me. If it didn't work for me, what could, right? Like I respect people that I work with that work hard, right? But I also respect people that can get the same amount of work done in a shorter time frame. I learn and ask them questions so that I can adopt some of the things they've done to be successful. And I picked those traits and on those sort of habits that people tend to have that make them, in my eyes, a great attorney. And I do my best to master that for me. And it's going to look different for everybody. Like, they might it might look one way on them and it's going to look the way it looks on me, and I'm okay with that. But again, prioritizing for me became recognizing how do I want myself to look as an attorney all these years down the road, and as a mom. And the biggest thing for me was my children not feeling as though work is more important than them, right? We hear stories about people who tend to prioritize their jobs and they miss things for their kids, or their kids are sick and they can't take a day off work to nurse their children back to health. I don't want to be that mom. I want my kids to say, Mommy worked so hard, but she was always around. Always around. We never had to worry if mommy was going to miss something, not be present for something. I just don't want my kids to remember me in that light. And I'm not always going to get it right, and I already am giving myself grace for that. But I will say, prioritizing and being in sort of mapping out my career has helped me balance work and life now in that sense. And again, I'm not saying I'm getting it right, but these are my truths and what I've realized thus far as a young attorney and a mom for balancing work and life. And the second point is prioritizing what's important, and then sort of mapping my career and life out to match that. My third thing and point that I kind of wanted to touch on was, along with prioritizing what's important, is the necessity that things will be missed, right? So, as a young lawyer, you will recognize that, especially if you're at a larger firm, there's a lots of underwritten rules about firm life, right? And I'm gonna probably that deserves its own video. So if y'all want to know my perception of that, I got the tea. But I will say I've recognized that, like, I'm not gonna make every firm event. I'm not, because my priority is first being a present and a good mom, like a present and prayerful and happy mom. That's my number one priority. And again, like, being a woman of God and my health and stuff aside, after those things, my children and my job second. And it's an immediate second, but it's second to my children and my family. I recognize that, okay, I'm not going to be able to make every event. I missed one of my firm's event recently, and I actually really wanted to go, y'all. I was so hurt. The firm has my firm has the best events, so I really do get upset when I miss them. But, like, I can't make everything. And why can't I make everything? Because I have children. Like, there's been events I've missed because my son had soccer practice. And I'm like, Son, do you mind missing practice? Mom, I really want to go to practice. Okay. My son wants to go to practice. I can't make it. I'll make the next event. There's always going to be another event. So a part of prioritizing what's important to you helps you recognize what's okay to be missed. And that's the truth about balancing work and life. Things will be missed. For some people, I've spoken to people that are parents and attorneys, and they've like, hey, I had to miss my kid's game because I had a very important filing I needed to get done. I couldn't go to the game. I pray that I'm never in that situation, but if I am, I also pray that my kid gives me the grace, like, Mom, you've never missed another game. Missing one game is okay, right? But a part of prioritizing is being okay with the fact that there will be things that will be missed. This next point truly, truly, truly deserves a video of its own. And I'm gonna do this video later on in the year, I think, because It's something that needs to be built upon, but it is my fourth point, and that is to plan, 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 plan. Now, how you plan is your business, right? I tend to stick to planners, to-do lists, and there is not a perfect system out there for a lawyer, in my opinion. And for me, some of us aren't like this, but for me, I like to have everything in one spot because when I've operated before with two separate calendars, and I always got confused, right? Like I always was like, oh wait, I didn't realize this was that day. Oh my God, crap, this happened that day. So for me, having everything in one place and color coordinated and things like that tend to keep me on point. So everything is already on my phone, and some people are fine with just operating on their phone. I'm real old school, y'all. Even during bar prepping in law school, I hand wrote everything. I'm a read and write person. I read something, I write it down to remember it. I write it down to keep it in the forefront of my mind. That's just who I am. I'm real old school. I love a physical planner, highlighters, pens, and all of that. I really, 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 really don't like to forget things or don't like to miss things. And as a lawyer, we operate on deadlines and dates. So for me, like I said, three times the charm. Outlook calendar, which is linked to my personal calendar, handwrite in my planner, and there, okay? Boots and suspenders. That's how I do it. But planning is important. You gotta plan. If you're a litigator, like I'm not a litigator, but if you're a litigator, you gotta plan out filing dates, court dates, when courts is open. Like if you're a mom, for me, I plan when spring break is, and if I could, I'll take a week vacation when the kids are off. If I can't, I don't. But like you have to plan all that out. I plan when y'all. It's to the point where I will plan my meals. I plan my meals for the day or for the month if I'm really being feisty. But like I have to stick to, even if it's a loose plan, I have to, y'all, or otherwise my life will be in shambles. And it already is kind of like at least been set with lighter fluid. So before the flames start, whichever now and again they do, I have to do that. And for me, planning also is like, it's like peaceful. Like I would never probably get to the point where I'm going to be like a planner influencer. And I know there are people out there that do that. More power to y'all. But it is still something I actually thoroughly enjoy doing. And I tend to do often. And in every aspect of my life, my finances, I have a weekly finance planner I look at, and I'm depending on how the money is on a weekly basis, and if the money is real funny on a daily basis, I'm looking and moving stuff around. But yes, like I plan everything. I plan from work to my kids extracurriculars to school outings to plan vacation. All of that stuff is in one spot for me, color coordinated, and it helps me remember what's what. So if there's a situation where I have a firm event and a vacation or something going on, I make sure if it's something I can do both. If I can do both of them, I do both. If I can't, if I have to prioritize which one's more important to me, that's what I do. But you can't do that just off the whim. You have to have a good system in place. And I'm not at the level in my career where I want my assistant managing my personal and professional affairs in one spot. I know some big firms, like some big wig partners, not at my firm per se, but like in the industry, tend to have assistants that do both personal and professional things for them. I don't like people having that level of control over my life. I like to have my own semblance of control. And if I need help, I ask for it. But for me, I'm only able to do that because I plan everything that I do. I plan coffee dates with colleagues. I plan dinners with colleagues and friends. I schedule when my best friends are going to visit me, when I can visit them. I schedule and plan everything that I can, y'all. And I do that to be able to be present in both my professional life, to make sure I'm building connections with people in the industry, to make sure I can make client things, and to make sure I'm showing up for my children because they are who matter. And at the end of the day, if this job lets me go or if I let the job go, my babies are going to be standing right there, and so is my family and friends. So I plan and utilize my planner to be able to do that. So the fourth thing is make planning and planners and to-do lists your best friends, y'all. Because if you want to have a full life to the extent that you can, or some control over your life and your personal and professional life, you can't do that just off a whim. You can't. My last important tip I will say is to be malleable. I have said all these tips, and God knows it's the truth. That's how I live my life, y'all. But there are times and there are days and there are seasons where that plan won't work. It won't work to prioritize. A to do list won't fix it. You know, communicating how you want your life to be and your career to be to a partner ain't gonna stop them from giving you more work. Okay, being proactive is not going to change anything. It's not. There is going to be seasons and times in your career where you're going to miss every firm event and probably every family event, and your nose is going to be down. You're going to be grinding it out, and there are going to be times where you're going to be away from work. You're going to have leave, or you're going to expand your family, or you're going to pivot and have a whole new career, be a professor, or who knows what. And you have to be able to be malleable. You have to be able to change without being moved, right? Like, one thing about this profession, if you're blessed to be an attorney, and if you're even blessed to be just a JD, we are skilled at so many things, from the hazing of what it is to go to law school, that we're marketable for most careers, for most professions. And that skill set needs to be transferable in a sense of being able to pivot quickly. That's what a good litigator can do on their feet. They can ask the right question. You know, they can change with what's thrown at them. Like, being able to do that is so important. I wish I could honestly do a video on being malleable by itself. That's how important it is. But you have to be malleable and have to be okay with the fact that even if you do everything right, shit will hit the fan. And when shit hits the fan, you have to be able to go with that and to still give your best in that season. I had a point right before I went on leave where I had a very high risk pregnancy, and in that time I still was expected to bill work and try to do my best work, and I fell short a few times. Not even, and I didn't even realize I was right. Then, review time come, you're like, damn, I didn't know I fucked up that bad, or I didn't know I did that wrong, and you still get an overall great review. But there are changes and things you can change to be better, right? And that's gonna come in every aspect of life. Like, there are going to be seasons, y'all, where if you're not malleable, you'll fold. And being malleable is just so important in this profession. It's important in this profession, and it's important if you want to be a parent. It's important if you want to have multiple streams of income. It's important if you want to be able to balance anything, not even just being a lawyer. It just so happens that if you're able to be malleable, you'll be a great lawyer probably. But I must say, y'all, as a closing remark, like, being able to pivot, being able to be okay with change is a skill that most people that like been at the firm or been at companies for a long time tend to have the biggest problem with. And it's the one thing I've tried to harness. Is like, okay, things are messed up right now. I'm gonna do the best that I can with what I have. And if things have to change, I'm just gonna learn it and I'm gonna master it to the best of my ability. And y'all, that's what I have. It's been crazy. It's been chaotic, but I'm glad to be back. I'm happy to be back. You probably could hear in my voice, I'm still overcoming a cold. My daughter is still like kind of congested. My son is like up and down with like not feeling good every now and again. And like I said, y'all, life has been kicking my butt. I don't even know if y'all could, but my kids are in the back tripping right now. I'm trying to film a video. They up there tripping, y'all. So I'm about to call it a night. And again, I've missed creating content. I've really grown to like love YouTube. Even though I'm going to be talking about legal stuff now, I've grown to like really enjoy this time that I set aside to film a video and just keep it real with y'all. And now that we're just Attorney Asia and we talking about law, I have a lot of cool and fun things I want to share, and I cannot wait for the next video. Much love to everybody. Bye, y'all.